Who was Jeffrey Epstein before he became infamous? The man who would later become the eye of a storm was once an ordinary individual, born in 1953 to a working-class family in Brooklyn, New York. Epstein's journey from a simple schoolteacher to a high-flying financier is a story of ambition, intelligence, and an uncanny ability to forge powerful connections. Epstein's academic journey was not typical. He dropped out of Cooper Union and New York University's Current Institute without acquiring a degree. However, he demonstrated a natural affinity for mathematics and physics, which caught the attention of the headmaster at the elite Dalton School in Manhattan. Epstein was hired as a math and physics teacher in the mid-70s. However, teaching was not Epstein's final destination. His knack for making connections led him to make a career-defining move. Through one of his students' parents, he landed a job at Bear Stearns, a global investment bank and brokerage firm. His sharp intellect and charm helped him quickly climb the corporate ladder, and he became a partner at the firm within just 4 years. Yet Epstein wanted more. He left Bear Stearns and established his own firm, J. Epstein & Company, in the early 80s. His firm was unique, catering exclusively to billionaires. His client list was exclusive and secretive, adding to his aura of mystery. One of his first clients was Leslie Wexner, the founder of L Brands, which owns Victoria's Secret and Bath and Body Works. Epstein managed Wexner's wealth for years, solidifying his reputation as a financial guru for the ultra-rich. But who could predict that this brilliant financier would soon be embroiled in such a dark controversy? The first whiffs of scandal surrounding Epstein began to emerge in the mid-2000s. As we delve into the murky world of Jeffrey Epstein's criminal charges, we find ourselves in Florida, 2005. Epstein, a man of considerable wealth and influence, finds himself under the scrutiny of law enforcement after allegations of sexual misconduct are brought against him by a woman claiming he had molested her husband's teenage daughter. But this was just the tip of the iceberg. As the investigation unfolded, several young girls bravely stepped forward, laying bare a chilling pattern of sexual abuse perpetuated by Epstein and his group. Yet, despite the mounting evidence and testimony, the court in 2008 only convicted him of sexually assaulting one person. In what many saw as a gross miscarriage of justice, Epstein, now a convicted sex offender, was handed a lenient sentence. Instead of facing the full weight of his actions, he was given a mere 13-month prison term, much of which he was allowed to serve in work release, spending up to 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, at his comfortable office. This plea deal sparked a public outcry. Critics argued that Epstein's wealth and connections had shielded him from the punishment he deserved, a sentiment that only grew stronger when the Miami Herald, in 2018, shone a spotlight on the role of U.S. Attorney Alexander Acosta in negotiating Epstein's soft sentence. Fast forward to July 2019. Federal prosecutors reopened the investigation into Epstein's actions between the years 2002 and 2005. This time, it was revealed that Epstein ran a prostitution ring, adding another layer of depravity to an already shocking case. But as the net was closing in, Epstein was found dead in his prison cell, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions and a legacy of pain and exploitation. Epstein's legal troubles seemed to be behind him, but his past was about to catch up. As we'll see in the next scene, Epstein's story doesn't end with his death. The shadow of his crimes continues to cast a dark cloud, reaching into corners of society where many would rather it not shine. Epstein's connections were not limited to the world of finance and politics. Rumors started to circulate about a possible link to Mossad, the Israeli intelligence agency. The plot thickened when Ari Ben-Menashe, a former Israeli officer, stepped into the limelight in 2020, alleging that Jeffrey Epstein and Robert Maxwell, the father of Epstein's ex-girlfriend Ghislaine Maxwell, were indeed Mossad agents. According to Ben-Menashe, the seedy underbelly of Epstein's world, rife with scandal, was actually a meticulously planned intelligence operation. The aim? To gather information and, more sinisterly, to compromise influential figures. Ben-Menashe's claims suggest that Epstein was a puppet master of sorts, manipulating the likes of Prince Andrew to draw other high-profile individuals into his web. But what role did Robert Maxwell play in all this? A self-made publishing magnate, Maxwell was a figure of considerable influence. His daughter Ghislaine became a central figure in Epstein's life, And according to the documentary Epstein's Shadow, she learned early how to read powerful men's moods and became a figurehead for her father's company. Could this have been the training ground for her alleged involvement in Epstein's operations? Ben Menashe goes on to claim that former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak was in the know, as was former U.S. Labor Secretary Alexander Acosta. Acosta, he says, even indicated that Epstein was working for Israeli intelligence. It's a narrative that's as intriguing as it is disturbing, implicating a network of high-profile individuals in Epstein's alleged crimes. But it's also a narrative that's shrouded in mystery and speculation. Without concrete evidence, it's difficult to determine where the truth lies. The documents released by Manhattan Federal Court Judge Loretta Preska in late 2019 do little to dispel the fog. They reveal a prostitution network implicating not just Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, but also a host of other influential figures. Yet, they provide no definitive proof of Epstein's alleged ties to Mossad. The question remains, was Epstein a Mossad agent, or are these just conspiracy theories? In 2019, Epstein's past finally caught up with him. The year marked a significant turning point in the narrative of Epstein's life, as the authorities apprehended him again, this time on federal sex trafficking charges. The allegations were far more severe, encompassing a period from 2002 to 2005, and implicating Epstein in operating an illicit sex trafficking ring. Epstein was arrested in July, and as the case unfolded, the depth of his alleged crimes sent shockwaves across the globe. The echoes of the victims' testimonies filled the courtrooms, painting a harrowing picture of the billionaire's monstrous acts. However, just a month later in August, Epstein was found dead in his jail cell. The official cause of death was ruled as suicide, but the suddenness and circumstances surrounding his death sparked a maelstrom of controversy. Theories and conjectures began to swirl, casting a shadow of suspicion over the official narrative. The prison where Epstein was held came under scrutiny, with critics pointing out lapses in protocol. Epstein, a high-profile inmate, was left unsupervised, and the surveillance cameras outside his cell conveniently malfunctioned on the night of his death. These anomalies fueled speculation, with some suggesting foul play and others proposing that Epstein's death was a convenient way to silence a man who knew too much. The controversy surrounding Epstein's death was further amplified by the high-profile names that were linked to him. The question on everyone's lips was, who else could have been implicated if Epstein had lived to stand trial? The intrigue surrounding Epstein's death persists, and the truth remains buried with him. His victims were denied the satisfaction of seeing justice served, and the world was left with a morbid fascination for the man who had managed to elude the grasp of justice for so long. Epstein's death closed a dark chapter, but it also opened up a Pandora's box of questions. Questions about the extent of his criminal network, the identities of his co-conspirators, and the possibility of his ties to intelligence agencies. Questions that still echo in the corridors of power and the whispers of conspiracy theorists alike. The story of Jeffrey Epstein is a complex and disturbing one. Born and raised in a New York City borough, Epstein went from being a college dropout to a teacher, then a financier, and finally, a convicted sex offender. His life was a series of unexpected turns and shocking revelations, each more unsettling than the last. Epstein's criminal charges were numerous and grave. They included sexual assault, trafficking, and exploitation of minors, offenses that he managed to evade for years through a combination of wealth, influence, and legal maneuvering. Despite the severity of his crimes, Epstein served only 13 months in prison after his first conviction in 2008. His second arrest in 2019 led to his death in custody, an event shrouded in mystery and controversy. The alleged connection between Epstein and the Israeli intelligence agency Mossad adds another layer of intrigue to his story. Claims made by former Israeli officer Ari Ben Menashe suggest that Epstein, along with his ex-girlfriend's father, Robert Maxwell, were Israeli agents. These allegations, if true, hint at a larger, more sinister network of influence and manipulation extending far beyond Epstein's immediate circle. And then there's the matter of Epstein's death. Officially ruled a suicide, Epstein's demise has sparked numerous conspiracy theories. Many believe that his death was orchestrated to prevent him from revealing damaging information about other high-profile individuals involved in his illicit activities. The repercussions of Epstein's life and actions continue to unfold. Ongoing investigations into his activities and connections have brought to light the involvement of several notable figures. Among them is Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's ex-girlfriend, who was convicted of procuring underage girls for Epstein and his associates. Her conviction and the revelations from her case have further underscored the depth and reach of Epstein's criminal network. Was Jeffrey Epstein a Mossad agent? The answer may be lost to history, but the questions his life and death raised will continue to provoke intrigue and speculation for years to come.